Mm, Morning, Jack. I'm just waking up, getting ready to head out to work. But I figured I'd give you this video real quick because, I've made it before and everyone's made it before. You keep asking the same question over again. I watch another video that opens up the same way as your last video, and I'm already tired. It's just kind of makes me want to go back to sleep. Anyway, uh, you compare this video to your first video. You go, well, he said the same thing and I said the same thing, but you said it about different things. You said it about Christianity, he said it about atheism. It's like saying that car's red, that car's blue. I see that car, it glows in the sun. Which car are we talking about? The red one or the blue one? It says the same thing about the same thing. It's bullshit. Anyway, this goes back to your question, the same question. It's atheism doesn't provide with anything. Why? What is it that atheists provide? I don't understand. This atheism, it isn't my religion. What does it give you? Here's what atheism gives you, Jack. It gives you clarity. You don't have to talk to an invisible man in the sky. You can answer your own questions, find your own ways, support science for real solutions to real problems instead of praying to a man in the sky and hoping something changes. It's just better. It gets shit done. It just there, my video just got algorithmically demoted. What was the other thing I had on here? Oh yes, you said religion is more complex than atheism. I agree, because it's not based in facts. Atheism, while not based in facts, is basically, I don't believe in God, blank, period, end of everything. You could have atheists that go into their closet and talk to aliens on a two-way radio. As long as they don't believe in God, they still fit the qualification to be atheist. Atheists are me, doesn't believe in God, end of story. It doesn't mean they're rational, it doesn't mean they're smart. You can have an atheist who has to open the door 4 or 5 times before he figures out he's got to get out of the way. All right, still an atheist. You quit misusing my word. I understand that society's made it like a bad word now, evil atheist, baby eating scum, but anyway, I've ended up rambling. Oh yes, I was going to explain to you what evolution is and how religion fits into all that. See, religion hijacks parts of our primitive brain. It's close enough to reality that we're subject to believe it from things like peer pressure and other evolved characteristics that we've got, but it's far enough away from reality to poison hearts and minds, segregate people, and, strap bombs to your chest, fly planes into buildings, whatever. It's an irrational belief, used for good, used for bad, still irrational. Why does this feel familiar? It's like all these videos I make, which, I gotta admit, I'm lazy. All right, I get tired of saying the same thing over and over again. And I know other people do too. I've watched great responses to a whole bunch of your videos where people are telling you the same thing I'm telling you. What does atheism give you? Atheism gives you clarity, Jack. Atheism lets you back off, take a look at your life, take a look at things and say, this is important. And this is important because, and there's many things that go into it, you know, obviously you're not appealing to a higher being, and I gotta say, Jack, neither are you. Your values don't come from your God. Read the good and the bad of your book, and then call me in the morning. I'm sure you've probably read more of your book than I have, and you know how good and bad, and you're going to tell me, oh, but it's got to be interpreted. Well, your interpretation is different than the guy down the streets, is different than the guy down the streets, is different than the guy down the streets. You might have a very moderate and good interpretation, and your religious belief will never be a problem for me. But where exactly does the gray area end, Jack? It's all right there in the middle with, hey, this is bullshit and it's not based in reality. Your good book could lead you to do good things, but historically the good book leads to very bad things. Very, very bad things. Jack, let me tell you a story. I'm looking at my timer. I've got almost 5 minutes left. This is a story of when I went to church. We will call this gentleman Deacon Tom. His name has been changed to protect the innocent. Deacon Tom was a good guy. He went on a canoe trip. later that day, he was telling someone about his canoe trip and about how God was watching out for him. The first bend in the river, Deacon sees I think it was a kingfisher. Anyway, it was a bird sitting on a tree. Around that bend is a tree that had fallen over in the river. Well, he says God was looking out for him because they were watching the bird and they missed the tree. The next bend in the river, the bird was back and there was another tree. Well, they watched the bird and said it's a sign from God. They missed the tree. They missed the second tree. Around that second bend was another blindsided tree, and they'd managed to miss the first one and miss the second one. And they were convinced that this bird was their good luck charm. It happened for a third bend in the river about 10 minutes later. And then after that, the bird was gone. The bird was gone, and the river was clear the rest of the day. Well, someone went up to Deacon Tom and told him what really happened. He said, you realize that every time you put your paddle in the water and pull forward, it's a very shallow river. You cause a whole bunch of fish to scurry out from under rocks. Fish or crawdads, I can't exactly remember. Freshwater rivers are a little hit or miss on what's there and what's working. So the reason why you saw this fish or this bird for 3 or 4 times was the bird was following you so that it could eat. Okay. Now, in Tom's defense, he said, okay, I can realize that. It might not have been God. It might have been a bird. So Deacon Tom grew a little bit that day. Why was it only 2 or 3 times he saw the bird? Well, it could have been multiple birds. Could have been the bird got full and flew away. Could have been he saw it near the end of the fishing trip and he'd managed to, or of the canoe trip, and he'd managed to miss several trees already. It's funny how the mind works, but religion gives you an excuse to not question why things work. If this person hadn't gone up and talked to Deacon Tom and said, it was a hungry bird and your paddle stirring up fish that really caused that bird to follow you, and there's nothing divine about that, then Deacon Tom would have been happy with his worldview. Oh, God was watching out for us 3 times on that day in the middle of the canoe trip. He managed to miss watching out for us at the beginning of the canoe trip where there was no birds, where we did hit a tree. It's a pretty good explanation of why things are the way they are, Jack. Hope you get something out of that. I gotta go to work.